Hey guys, Cam for 15 back out of another video for you guys, back with another episode review of Fighting Girls Don't Play Fighting Games. And man, these last two episodes, especially this most recent episode this week, was freaking it. Dude, I can't even explain to you, bro. Like, listen, there's so many great animes that are brand new and really good in terms of like the start and the newness of the show or of the shows that we're getting. And this show with honestly, it's my favorite show out of all the shows this season, just strictly due to the unseriousness this anime gives you. Like, again, man, like I think what is it? I commented because I watched AH Brandon's video um about his top 5 anime of the season, and legitimately I put in the comment section, I said, honestly, I said, great list. My favorite anime is, you know, ladies don't play fighting games, just from the aspect. It's really like something where it's like you can watch it where you think like, oh, it's a generic ass anime about these girls playing basically Street Fighter 6, basically playing a video game. But the unseriousness of how serious this whole shit is and how serious this these girls take this damn game to the point like legitimately like you feel like you're gonna fucking die. It's absolutely crazy. It's funny, it's hilarious. I'm getting a freaking kick out of this whole nonsense and stuff like that. And this show is great. This show is great. And I don't know if the rest of the season is going to be focused on this Evo tournament or this like Evo Street Fighter tournament that we see. But I guess we're gonna see if it. I guess that it definitely looks like that's gonna be the structure to close out the season, right? Now, again, I don't know if there's more content after this to adapt, or if there's more content after I guess this Evo arc. But I guess it would just all culminate in the storylines coming together, and things like that. So. It is very much interesting to say the least, but last week's episode, it was just kind of the introduction to the Evo stuff and how our characters are doing. It was funny how you basically forgot to sign up Mio as Mio, and basically called her basically her the nickname she's given at school, which is White Lily, even though she freaking hates that whole thing. Also, too, we do see like Mio and Aya were basically having these, matches and everything, and Aya was getting pissed at Mio for not taking things seriously because she's trying to do like this freaking like specialized counter, at the right time and everything, and it's taken away. And Mio's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll be fine," and everything. And obviously, Aya's like, "Bro, you're not making me get any better whatsoever, right?" But there's that whole thing. And then also too, they ended up actually running into the little girl who we later find out is called Lesser Devil. um and she basically again mocks them because they're having fun and everything, and they're talking about like, oh, let's have fun and do this. And then obviously the little girl is like, bro, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you ain't doing nothing here, and please, I'm beat your ass. And it's funny because Mio is like, oh, please, I'm not gonna let you talk down like this, which it ends up culminating in what we see in the most recent episode, or this week's episode, with their beef going on. But yeah, but that was mostly it. And we got left off on the cliffhanger with the fact of we see that one dude, Gekido, go up against, I guess, somebody he knows, and they're fighting their match in Street Fighter, right? So it leads into this most recent episode where basically they're fighting and everything, and we kind of get the flashback to these guys. Like again, like these Tokyo Revenger dudes, it's absolutely hilarious. Now, red hair guy, like in his school, he was like the number one like Street Fighter player that, you know, just dominated everybody, and his posse basically thought like, oh yeah, nobody's gonna touch you. And then obviously that's when he came across Gekido, and Gekido was the one person that had legitimately challenged him and actually beat him and everything. And since then, he hasn't been able to really beat him. And so they've been having like a butting heads rivalry. And it's crazy how you get like the fight, the way they're fighting, like legitimately, like you even have it like where the girls are like breaking it down, where I is just like, like what the hell? It's just crazy how much like the pixelations that they're moving. And basically like they're in the stage of the fight where like they can't fuck up. Like one wrong move will end them doom. And that's typically probably how it goes with these like, video games, fighting, tournaments and shit like that, because like you got to be absolutely perfect. You got to know your button input, in our implement our imports and everything, and you got to make sure you're watching like a freaking hawk, because again, like, you're going up against like these pro fucking players that are like freaking damn good at the game. Like one little mistake, you know, you can get away with it against like an amateur type of game player, but like against like a pro that's like invested like hours into a game and knows like the game inside out and everything has been practicing, they'll be able to pick you apart just like that, right? And you get to like this moment where because if you remember in Street Fighter 6, they have this gauge where they did the stamina gauge, and if you lose all your stamina, you're basically in a state where you can't really guard. Like you can guard to like weaker attacks to an extent, but like the moment you get like an ultimate hit on you, you're basically fucking cooked. And it was crazy because Gekido actually kind of lured him in based off like a thing that he was doing, earlier in the match. And our red-haired dude completely fell for it. And it's funny because like the dude immediately fucking knew, like, fuck, I got caught. And at that point, he didn't even fucking he just stopped playing at that point once he got caught in the combo. And the dude and Gekido basically unleashed the ultimate combo and everything and finished him off in that one hit. And it's crazy, man. It was crazy. Now the thing we find out is you have it to where Tamaki and met up with Aya in this whole thing. And essentially we find out that now Aya is going to have to fight against Gekido in the next match, or in our next match, which we get left off on a cliffhanger that she's actually going to fight Gekido, and Mio is actually going to be fighting the guy that Gekido beat, the red-haired dude. And everything. So there's that. But Aya basically checks in and say like, hey, how you doing? And we find out that Tamaki actually won a match and she actually progressed and she got to the next stage. So, obviously Aya encourages her and says like, hey, look, that's great. All that hard work you put into getting better at the game, it paid off for you. And guess what? Now you're letting the fruits of your labor stuck out and everything. And we do find out that Mio, she has to actually get through the losers bracket to get back into the main tournament and everything. But we also do see that Yu also did a solid job and she got through, right? Now, this is when we get some interesting, like, I guess you can say story points, which now kind of furthers the story of where, like, oh, things could be going and everything in terms of the setup. So we have it to where we see obviously the little girl and she's eating in like basically the food area, right? And she obviously sees Aya, Mio, and the gang, right? Just, eating and just, having fun and everything. And she looks at Mio and Aya and she sees how much fun they're having and everything. And it actually takes her back to a flashback, or a point in time where she has a flashback where she was, it looked like, I guess she was getting bullied by these dudes or something like that. And she had her friend basically protect her and everything and said like, those guys probably like you and everything. And she's like, what? Because these dudes were calling her Uggo and shit like that. But basically they were they were the best of friends. You just have it to where she basically like, I love you, and she's like, I care about you too. And we don't see the full length of her backstory, right? But there's a part in the backstory where her friend ended up saying, I hate you. I want nothing to do with you, you know, blah 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 blah. I'm never being your friend again, and stuff like that, right? Um, and that triggers because she ends up actually, interacting in their conversation and everything, basically saying like, see, I knew you guys were pathetic and everything. And basically Mio was like, oh please, why are you acting like this? And basically Mio makes a line of saying like, look, if you're gonna act like this freaking rude, like you're not gonna make any friends. And that's what flashed back to her, flashback, especially with the fact that of how the friend broke up. Now I think later down the road, which they're basically setting up Mio to fight her. I think that's when we get the fucking backstory, the full backstory of why, her friend basically, I guess, abandoned her or left her. My best case is they must have played Street Fighter together and she got super good to the point like she kind of got obsessed with it. And I guess the friend out of frustration because she kept losing just got sick and tired of it. And maybe and who knows, maybe she was boasting about her. We don't know. But I'm gonna just think with the fact of like how this show has been going, where we've been seeing some certain backstories kind of just lead all the fact of like these characters been playing Street Fighter for a period of time and blah 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 blah. We've seen it with Mio, we've seen it with Aya. We know that their childhood they played Street Fighter, they're really damn good, and it actually affected the people who were friends to them that basically abandoned them and just said, man, fuck this, bro. You too damn good. And everything. So the same thing happens to this girl now. This other girl shows up and essentially knows of the little girl, and she's like, what are you doing, lesser devil? And she's like, bloody macaron. And again, this is the shit that makes this show so funny and makes this show like you can't take this show seriously, and that's what makes this show so fucking great. Like you literally have it to where they have their own fucking nicknames. I guess they're player nicknames or whatever. I don't think it's their actual player nickname, but it's just nicknames that they've gotten. And we find out like they go play like Street Fighter at this cafe and everything, I guess, that other Street Fighter players play at. And legitimately, they're that good that these people call them Lesser Devil and Bloody Macaron. And the inseriousness part is like Aya's just like, huh, it sounds like a 90s light novel character type of thing. And you just have it where you're like, bro, what the hell did this lead to 90s light novels? And you read 90s light novels, and I was like, you don't need to worry about that. That's none of your concern. And I'm just like, bro, what? But essentially, we also find out that other girl. So the thing is, basically, little girl makes the mention to Mio that because Mio's gonna say like I'm gonna go win this whole thing, and she basically is like, well, if I'm gonna win this whole thing, we're gonna come across each other's path at some point and everything. And basically this little girl turns around with the most freaking dead looking look where she's just like, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to strangle you. And she literally says, I'm gonna beat your ass so bad in Street Fighter that I'm gonna make you basically retire and regret that you ever played this game, which is absolutely crazy. And the face that she made, I'm like, bro, what? So you have that whole scene take place, right? And then you get introduced to the next character of Bloody Macaron, right? And the thing is that when the character first shows up, Tamaki's like, sister, and the other girls are like, sister? Whoa, what? And we find out that Tamaki is related to Bloody Macaron. I'm looking at the character list, and her name is Hana Ichinose. Um, so you get that whole thing there, right? So Hana is now her nickname is Bloody Macaron, which is a fucking crazy nickname. She basically identifies the other girl. She's like, she refers to Aya basically saying like, oh, I know you, I remember you're one of the new incoming freshmen. She remembers Mio basically saying, oh, you're the pretty girl. She obviously knows you. She's like, oh, I didn't expect you to be here, but I didn't know that was you, because you have yakisoba on your head. Because legitimately, like, I forgot to mention, like, this girl, freaking, the little girl, Arisa, right? That's her name, right? She legitimately gets so fucking pissed. She throws the yakisoba at them, and Mio basically deflects the yakisoba, which ends up on you head. And legitimately, this girl was about to start fucking scrapping. Like, they were about to start fighting. Now remember, Mio actually knows martial arts, but apparently this little girl knows martial arts too, right? And also too, she's actually a high schooler actually too, like them. She isn't a little girl because we see them in junior high. We see her in junior high in the flashback. But legitimately, they were about to start throwing hands and everything. And that's when Hana came in and kind of broke this whole nonsense up and everything. But we do see she did actually cut Mio, because Aya's like, hey, you cut and everything. She's like, I'm fine. But we see, like, Hana is basically identifying all the other girls and everything. And then it gets to freaking Tamaki. And obviously Tamaki is just like, she's in fear, bro. And I'm just like, why is this girl in fear of her own sister? And then you see why, because then Hana walks up on her and she's like, what the hell are you doing here? Why are you still playing Street Fighter? And legitimately, it sends a chill down her spine. And then the other girl's reactions to this, um, is the chilling thing. I think Mio makes the funniest face, because I think for her, she's getting like PTSD, because it's clear Hana probably gives, like, these threats that Hana was giving Tamaki was legitimately like her mom with her. And it's crazy. And I'm just like, bro, what type of fucking sister is this, bro? Just damn near peer pressuring her fucking sister, just asking, like, why the fuck are you here? You still play Street Fighter? And Yu basically comes in to come to Tamaki's aid, and essentially we find out that the person that Tamaki mentioned she was trying to catch up to is her sister. So I'm guessing that, well, one, we find out that her sister's actually in this tournament, so, and everything. From what it sounds like, her sister is damn good at Street Fighter, and I'm guessing she tried to teach her sister um Tamaki to play Street Fighter, but she just wasn't as good and adept as, Hana was. And maybe Hana just said, well, if you're not up on my level, then what the frick? You have business playing Street Fighter or something like that. Which is crazy again. It's like, bro, what? Um, so and basically the episode ends off from them because they have to go to the next matches. We end off on the cliffhanger with the fact that Aya has to go up against Gekido, and Mio has to fight against the red-haired guy. And I think whoever wins, or the people that win this match, right, they actually have to play each other. So in the next round, we legitimately could be getting, for realsy in this tournament, Mio versus Aya for all the cakes and everything, basically winner take all, right? But it honestly would be shocking if, say, you have it to where maybe Gekido beats Aya, and Mio beats the dude, and she has to beat Gekido to get to the next round. But they basically set up things like potentially we could be getting Mio versus Aya in this tournament setting. We obviously have Mio potentially going up against, you know, Lesser Devil, aka Arisu, and then or Arisa, and then so far we haven't had somebody you is basically in competition with so far. Maybe that gets revealed next week. And then obviously it's clear that Tamaki's end game is that she's going to fight Hana at some point in this tournament. Now the question is, will she be able to beat Hana? I don't know. I think I think they can go the route of her beating her, which would probably make her sister wake up to realize, oh, you actually have improved and you've gotten stronger. I'm proud of you. Or maybe they do the thing where Tamaki loses to Hana. But the thing is, she actually pushed and challenged Hana to the point she almost actually beat her. And Hana, her sister, gains a newfound respect for Tamaki, about saying, like, you know what? You've improved and you're not half bad. You know what? let's do it again sometime later, right? But they definitely set the stage for these matches for the future. But regardless, I can't wait to see where this anime is gonna go. I am absolutely gonna be funny. And also too, like I made a mention, if Mio fights Arisa, it's clear, when Mio ends up more than likely beating her, you know, she's gonna end up realizing like, and I think she's gonna realize, and she's gonna end up becoming friends with Mio, I, and the other girls because they all love Street Fighter. They all love to have fun. This isn't something that they take serious and everything. And I think she's gonna understand like I have people that are like me, and I'm treating them rudely. They're not half bad. And maybe there'll be a moment where Mio's like, I don't see like, let's just stop the hostility. Let's just be friends and continue to play Street Fighter and stuff like that. And maybe that's when she's maybe who knows, our Arisa is gonna see her old friend in Mio and then want to be her friend and everything. But definitely that's where it looks like it's going. So we got a lot of interesting plot lines in this show, as for unserious it is. But yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna get out for guys. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, hit the subscribe button if you want to get more young ladies don't play fighting game content or things like that. And yeah, but till then guys, I'm gonna get out of here, catch you guys in the next video. I will see you guys later. Till then guys, peace.